What's the best joke you know? As a Finn, I have a special fondness for Russian, Soviet political jokes. A new arrival to Gulag is asked, "What were you given 10 years for?" "For nothing. Don't lie to us here, comrade. Everybody knows, for nothing, is 3 years." A judge walks out of his chambers laughing his head off. A colleague approaches him and asks why he is laughing. "I just heard the funniest joke in the world." "Well, go ahead, tell me," says the other judge. "I can't, I just gave someone 10 years for it." A Chevy Silverado, a Ford F-150, a Ram 1500, a GMC Sierra, and a Toyota Tundra are driving in convoy. Best pickup line ever. What do you call a dog with steel balls and no hind legs? Sparky. What did the sign on the door of the brothel say? "Beat it, we're closed." How many potatoes does it take to kill an Irishman? None. How do you spot a blind man in a nudist camp? It's not hard. Not mine. I went to a beekeeper to get 12 bees. He counted and gave me 13. "Sir, you gave me an extra. That's a freebie." What's the difference between a lentil and chickpea? I would never pay $200 to have a lentil in my mouth. 3 men went to hell, and they stood before the devil. The devil asked the first man, "What did you do for a living?" The man answered, "I was a lumberjack." The devil said, "Then we will chop your penis off." He turned to the second man, asking the same question he asked the first. "I was a fireman," said the second man. "Then we will burn your penis off," said the devil. He turned to the third man, asking the same question he asked the other two. The third man thought about it, and finally answered the devil. "I was a lollipop salesman." What's the difference between a stripper and a waitress at a strip club? 6 months. What's the difference between a hot potato and a flying pig? One's a heated yam and the other's a yeeted ham. A man sat down at a bar and told the bartender, "I bet you $300 that I can piss into the cup all the way over there on the other side of the bar and not miss a single drop." The bartender said, "There is no way you can do that." "Sure, I'll bet you $300. The man then begins to undo his pants and begins pissing. He starts pissing all over the bar, spraying on the bottles and the bartender, not making a single drop in the cup. The bartender starts smiling and laughing and says, "That's it, you owe me $300. The man then gets up and walks over to the pool table and starts laughing and shaking hands with the men standing there. He walks back to bar, sits down and starts laughing at the bartender and hands him the money. The bartender asks, "Why are you laughing? You just lost the bet." The man said, "I'm laughing because I bet those guys over there $1,000 that I could piss all over you and your bar and you would still be laughing when I was done." Pi r squared. No, pi r round. I went to a zoo the other day and they only had one animal. It was a Shih Tzu. I bought the worst thesaurus the other day. Not only was it terrible, it was also terrible. Edit. Well, shucks. Thanks for all the awards and for my most upvoted comment. You're all great, and also, you're great. I actually commented this on another AskReddit joke post, so maybe y'all will appreciate it more. One day a koala was feeling super horny. He walks out to the corner, finds a prostitute, and brings her back to a hotel room. He eats her out, wipes his mouth, and heads towards the door. The prostitute says, "Excuse me hun, I'm a prostitute. You gotta pay up. Look up, prostitute, in the dictionary, has sex for money." The koala replies, "Look up, koala, in the dictionary, eats bush and leaves." What's the difference between John Wayne and Jack Daniels? Jack Daniels is still killing Indians. I'll put a disclaimer that I'm native and this is one of my favorite jokes. Dad, the trash man's here. Tell him we don't need any. I had a song stuck in my head the other day and kept singing it out loud. My wife finally broke down and screamed, "Will you please stop singing Wonderwall?" I said maybe. I have a joke I tell kids. I start with the interrupting cow knock knock joke. Knock knock. Who's there? Interrupting sloth, slowly. Interrupting sloth who? Wait a few seconds, ah. What did Cinderella say when she got to the ball? Makes gagging sound. I told this to my family when I was like 11. Went over well. What's brown and sticky? A stick. What's brown and red and sticky? That bloody stick. Nothing beats a beautiful woman with a great singing voice. Except Chris Brown. Priest and Plumber go golfing. It's the last 3 holes after a close round. Plumber misses his swing and curses, "Bugger missed." The priest is mildly offended and chastises him, "You shouldn't curse in the Lord's presence." The plumber laughs it off and looks furtively over his shoulder. Next hole, the plumber is distracted and goofs on the putting green. He can't help but curse, "Bugger this." The priest scolds him, "I told you, if you curse again may the Lord strike you down." The priest takes the lead. On the last hole, the plumber is sweating from the pressure, practicing his putting move. 1 point separates them on the green. He swings, connects, and the ball rolls on the lip of the hole and pivots off target into the sand bunker. "FCKINFCK," the plumber rants. Before the priest can chime in, a mighty rumble is heard, the thick clouds overhead part and a bolt of lightning screams through the air. The priest is struck dead and a voice from the clouds says, "Bugger, missed." A Buddhist walks up to a hot dog vendor and says, "Make me one with everything." Bonus for philosophy nerds, Descartes walks into a bar. The bartender says, "Hey, Descartes, I just got this new import beer in. Want to try it?" Descartes says, I think not. And he vanishes into thin air. It's about amnesia, but I always forget it for some reason. What's brown and rhymes with Snoop? Dr. Dre. What do you get if you insert human DNA into a goat? Kicked out of the petting zoo. The divorce court judge says to Mickey, "Now let me get this straight, Mr. Mouse, you want a divorce from your wife Minnie because she's crazy?" And Mickey says, "No, I never said she was crazy, I said she was ducking Goofy." Wanna hear a joke about my cat? 2 cows are standing in a field. One turns to the other and says, "Did you hear about the mad cow disease going around?" The other cow responds, "Good thing I'm a helicopter." John walked into his local bar, says hi to the lads and orders a pint. Takes a big slug and says to the lads, "Ah, needed that. Long day down at the battered women's shelter. My arms are ducking killing me." His mates think it's hilarious. And go back to chatting. John stares into his pint slightly hurt. He thought he'd done a really good job of putting in all those new shelving units and wardrobes. 2 windmills are standing in a field when one asks, "What's your favorite type of music?" The other says, "I'm a big metal fan." What's the difference between a slob on a bicycle and a well-dressed individual on a unicycle? A tire. What type of wood doesn't float in the water? Natalie wood. It's best said in Dutch, but it works in English. What's the difference between a pro footballer and a prostitute? One's got a cracked muscle, the other a muscular crack. Greater than wat is het verschil tussen een pro voetballer en een hoer. De een heeft een geschuurd spier, de ander een gespierde scheur. A proctologist walks into a bank, he needs to sign a document. He tries to sign, but he pulls a thermometer out of his shirt pocket. Oh shit, some asshole has my pen. Why does a chicken coop only have 2 doors? Because if it had 4, it would be a chicken sedan. A boss had 2 employees. Alice and Jack. He only needed 1. But they were hired at the same time and were both equally good at their job. He couldn't decide which to get rid of. He was sitting at a bar thinking about the situation. Alice walks in and sits beside him and asks, "You seem down, what's wrong?" The boss said, "I need to either lay you or jack off." Alice says, "Well, please jack off, I'm tired." Guy walks into a bar and says to the bartender, "I'll show you something amazing for a beer." Bartender agrees. Guy pulls out a 10 inches pianist from his pocket and sets him on the bar. He starts playing beautifully. The bartender, wowed, demands, "Where the hell d'you find that little man?" Guy says, "I've got a tiny wizard in my other pocket. For another beer, you can make a wish." Bartender agrees and says, "Wizard, I'd like 100,000 bucks." Suddenly the bar fills with 100,000 ducks. Bartender, confused and angry says, "What the hell mate? I didn't want 100,000 ducks." Guy responds, "Oh, you think I wanted a 10 pianist?" Real dad joke coming up. What's a pirate's favorite letter? Most proceed to say RRRR. You'd think it's the R, but its first love is the C. Edit. Thank you for the silver stranger. Stalin is sitting at his desk busy with paperwork when his assistant bursts into the room and says, "Comrade Stalin, There is a clairvoyant here that wants to see you. He claims he can see the future. Send him to Gulag, says Stalin. If he could see the future he wouldn't have come here. I mixed up the words jacuzzi and yakuza and now I am in hot water with the Japanese mafia. What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo? One is very heavy, and the other is a little lighter. I have a knock-knock joke but you have to start it. I have no jokes. Did you hear about the man with 5 penises? His pants fit like a glove. Waterboarding in Guantanamo Bay sounds like a great time if you don't know what either of those things are. Why did the blind man fall into the well? He couldn't see that well. People are shocked when they find out what a terrible electrician I am. What do you call a reverse exorcism? When the devil tells the priest to get out of the child. I only know bad ones. What do you call a fly with no wings? A walk, badam, TS's. Edit, to TS's, because apparently it bothered someone winking face. What's the difference between Tiger Woods and Princess Diana? Tiger had better driver. Here's a joke I read a long time ago. I want to say it's from 1001 Jokes by Jeff Roven, but I'm not sure. What's the square root of 69? Greater than, 8 something, less than. For those having trouble getting it, greater than, 8 something, less than. For those still not getting it, greater than, the square root of 69 is approximately 8.30662. Or 8 something. In the sexual position of 69, you eat something, less than. I was unaware of the Drake song when I posted this. How many dead hookers does it take to change a light bulb? Apparently more than 5, because my basement is still dark. What do you call an Icelandic baby that dies in childbirth? Stillbjorn. 2 guys are walking down the street when they see a dog licking his balls. One guy says, I wish I could do that. The other replies, well, maybe just try petting him first. Doc, you gotta help me. I can't stop singing, What's New Pussycat? Ah, that sounds like Tom Jones syndrome. Is it common? It's not unusual. What's red and bad for your teeth? A brick. This guy sees a sign, talking dog $5. He walks up and asks the man, does this dog really talk? Owner, yep. Bullshit. Dog, it's true, I can talk. Man, holy shit. Dog, yeah, I started out in the circus as a sideshow, until the CIA found me. They recruited me as a spy. No one suspects the dog in the room is listening to state secrets. After 2 tours, I retired here in the country to live out my days. Man, my God, man. That is the most astounding thing I have ever heard. So, why the hell are you only selling him for $5? Owner, because that dog is a liar. He didn't do any of that shit. My grandfather has a heart of lion. He now banned from zoo. What's the difference between a dirty bus stop and a lobster with breast implants? One is a crusty bus station and the other is a busty crustacean. Doctor, I swallowed a pen. Well, sit down and write your name. An Englishman, a Frenchman, a Spaniard and a German are all standing watching an American street performer do some juggling. The juggler notices the 4 gentlemen have a very poor view, so he stands up on a wooden crate and calls out, can y'all see me now? Yes. We. See? Ya. How do you find Will Smith in the snow? You follow the Fresh Prince. Why does the Little Mermaid wear seashells? Because she's too big for bee shells. Wait. Before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe, you sexy human.